Hello, my name is Sohail Giasi, and I'm a co-founder of Storx Technologies. The mission of Storx is to support obstetricians and expectant mothers so the unnecessary C-sections can be avoided during the labor process. If you consider the rate of C-section in the US, you'll notice that it's far higher than other developed countries, while the outcomes are really no better. And this is a problem because C-sections are expensive for payers. On average, a C-section delivery costs about $10,000 more for a commercial payer compared to a natural birth. The outcomes are no better, so mothers and families are increasingly more interested in vaginal delivery if it's safe. And physicians also would prefer to have safe natural birth because the liability in the decision-making process, in the clinical decision-making process around whether a C-section is warranted or not can be pretty cumbersome. And physicians would like to avoid the nightmare of liability around this decision-making process. This problem has been recognized by various regulatory bodies, and there are different regulations and incentives coming up on the horizon to incentivize different hospitals and providers to reduce the rate of their C-sections. And the genesis of this problem is the old inaccurate technology that is currently being used in the labor and delivery units to assess intrapartum fetal health. The current technology, which is about half a century old, uses non-invasive sensors that tracks fetal heart rate as well as uterine contractions. This technology has been shown to be very inaccurate and specifically has about 90% false positive rate for detection of fetal hypoxic distress. Because of that, a lot of physicians and providers, they have to interpret the alarms as being legitimate, and they recommend C-sections, and then it will turn out that the C-section was not really necessary. There are studies that show that since introduction of this machine in the 70s, the rate of C-section in the US has increased by 5x, while the outcomes associated with fetal hypoxic distress, which the machine attempts to prevent, they have remained unchanged. And there's additional data that shows that this specific machine and the decision-making process around that, the signals generated by the machine, they contribute to about 2/3 of the C-sections in the US. Our solution is a non-invasive device that, similar to the probes that currently are used for tracking fetal heart rate and uterine contractions, they track directly and objectively the oxygen saturation of the fetal blood. So we have a non-invasive probe that goes on the abdomen of an expectant mother, and then there's a device that pulls data from the existing monitor, it pulls data from our sensor, and it provides a unified view of the fetal health, which is more accurate and more objective to the physicians. We currently are running a pilot patient study in antenatal testing units at UC Davis Hospital. These are mothers who are at least 36 weeks pregnant, and they don't have any significant health history. And work is underway to test this during labor as well. The market for this device is pretty large. The business model we are pursuing is a disposable device in the form of a probe, as well as a bedside unit, a machine that interfaces with the fetal existing fetal monitors. And if you consider the number of births in the US as well as the other developed countries, the market is in the several billions of dollars in annual sale. This is just the immediate market in around labor. And there are additional secondary markets possible for in neonatology, for tracking and monitoring high-risk pregnancies and whatnot. So the market potential is substantial. We have been doing basic research on this problem for the past 5 years, and that research has been supported by federal basic research funds through NSF as well as NIH. We've done several device prototypes. We have validated the device in animal models. And the company, which was formed last year, has received 2 small business grants from both NSF and NIH. We are currently testing in patients in antenatal testing units, and we are engaging FDA to get pre-submission feedback. The plan is to test this in laboring animal models as well as human subjects. later in 2021 and 2022, and then go to FDA in 2023 for approval process. Our team is composed of a couple of engineers who have been doing basic research and device iterations, and we are fortunate to be supported by a large team of clinical advisors and collaborators, ranging from expertise that touch on this problem, from obstetrics to fetal surgery to neonatology, across several leading hospitals and academic institutions. And we've been fortunate to have the advantage of being advised by the network of mentors that Citrus has provided. Thank you for watching.